Hello, Lana Quest.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Happy Monday, I guess they say. How are you doing? We have a special Monday night show.
It is. Right. It's not Tuesday.
It is not Tuesday.
Days are just flying.
We have switched just this week to Monday, and it's because of priorities. And the priority is the Boston Celtics play game 1 tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they do.
I mean, we can't be on
Yeah.
air why the Celtics are playing in playoff games. I mean, the regular season game, I think we would go ahead and move forward with a Tuesday, but playoffs have started, baby. And, this guy does not, me personally, I don't miss Boston Celtic playoff games. That's not, I don't miss many of the regular season games. I get the package so I can watch every game.
Right. And then the other one's on Thursday. I may do my show on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's
right.
I'm going to see it because my daughter has track meet.
On which day?
Thursday. Well, actually, she should be out by 8 now.
I know. You've got a schedule.
We were at the track until I think it was over. We were there at 11. It was over at like 4. So that was a good one.
Yeah.
It's like 5 hours. That's nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, you got that. The good news is the Celtics only play one Tuesday night game in this round 2. So hopefully, we can sail through that pretty quickly and get through it. But I know people are not here for the Boston Celtics. We are here for some news. And I apologize at least for missing last week. I was sick. I did not feel well at all. And I actually still kind of feel it a little bit. But yeah.
What is it, like cold, flu, virus?
Something's going around. So I mean, it was terrible.
Leprosy.
Leprosy. It was whatever it is you want to
categorize. Polio. You are in Florida.
Right. That is true. Maybe I should probably leave right now and go see a doctor. Lana's got me freaked out, but
it could be anything.
Could be anything. So, but anyway, let's start with today's news. The trial of Donald Trump has continued, and it is obviously for the hush money case, I guess they call it, where he paid a porn star to be quiet, basically, and a Playboy model to, to be quiet right before the election. Right. And some very interesting things have come out. But today, the Judge Merchan, who is overseeing the historic trial, issued the remarkable jail warning and fined Donald Trump an additional $1,000 for not his first, second, third, or fourth, his 10th violation of the order. Lana, they say that, if this could happen to Donald Trump, this could happen to us. So, I mean, basically what they're saying is that we can violate a gag order up to 10 times before we get thrown in jail.
Oh, can we now? And he probably still won't. Like, I don't know. Like the judge's warning wasn't even that stern. It was like, yeah, I've warned you so many times, next time you're going to jail. I don't want to do that. You possibly could be, you're the former president, and you could possibly be, the next president
as well.
Like, why are you saying that, Merchan? Like, this motherfucker is a rapist. He's already in trouble with the state of New York for freaking business fraud or whatever, insurance fraud, whatever, bank record fraud, just fraud, right? Like, come on. Why are we treating him like, I really don't want to do it, you're a good guy? He's not a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the continued pattern of this guy being able to get away with just pretty much everything throughout his life. And people question, they're like, how does this guy just keep going through and getting away with things? And he does it because he knows he can. So he just says it. And at some point you think to yourself, all right, this is it. This finally they're going to say, all right, enough's enough. And you know what? Even if they throw him in jail for a night or two, I know people are saying, and I know Donald Trump does not want to go to jail, but is it really that big of a deal? I mean, I can almost picture Donald Trump thinking to himself, like, almost picturing himself in one of those movies where he's sitting in a jail cell and in the distance he hears rumbling, and then next thing you know it gets louder and louder, and he looks out his window and there are the MAGA flags and the MAGA people coming to him, and he's just got this smile on his face of pride that the people are here to bail me out of jail and to get me out and break me out, and there's nothing they could do about it. But obviously that's not going to happen. So hopefully maybe we do throw him in jail for a night or two. And then he's like, oh, fuck, I didn't like that. And nobody came. So
right. He doesn't want to go to jail. Like, he's not going to have his phone. What is he going to do? Read? He doesn't read. They're not going to give him a Sharpie. He doesn't get sharp objects or anything. Like, what's he going to do?
He might bring one of his Bibles in with him and read that.
You know what? He could read his Bible.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You say that he doesn't want to go to jail. Donald Trump disagrees with you, Lana. In fact, he had one of his stupid little press conferences after his little trial today, came out and had this to say.
It's a disgrace. And then you have the other thing that maybe is even more disgraceful is the gag order, where I can't I have to watch every word I tell you people. You ask me a question, a simple question, I'd like to give it, but I can't talk about it. Because this judge gave me a gag order and said you'll go to jail if you violate it. And frankly, you know what? Our Constitution is much more important than jail. It's not even close. I'll do that sacrifice any day. But what's happening here is a disgrace, and the appellate courts ought to get involved.
Yep. What's the Constitution he's talking about? He's talking about his freedom of speech. Is that what he's talking about? Because gag orders have been placed on people throughout history and in trials, and nobody has ever made the case that is affecting their freedom of speech. Why is it different this time?
But he can talk. No one's gagging him. He can run a whole campaign. Yep. Hey, how about talk about your policy? That's something novel, right? You are running for president. Maybe tell your MAGA people what you plan to do. Like, what the fuck? You're not gagged in running for the presidency. Your only gag was you cannot badger and threaten the witnesses of the judge's kid. Like, you're not really gagged. Like, seriously, is that it? He's not fucking gagged. Like, we keep saying he's gagged. Yeah, I get it. Technically, he is, but he's just being told what fucking people with common sense just don't do. Like, no one does that.
Yeah, Lana, the problem is that you and I were listening to him, but who was he actually talking to? The people he's talking to are his voters. That's his policy right there. He doesn't have, actual policy that those people even give a shit about. Could you imagine him going up to the microphone and start talking about healthcare? They'd be like, fuck with healthcare. Get the fuck out of here. Right. Talk about how terrible
healthcare.
Yeah. Talk about how terrible the judge is. We like that. That's awesome.
You're right. You're right. Like, it's true. Imagine if he did get up there and start talking about a healthcare plan.
Right. Yep.
Like, what?
Yeah, they'd be like, huh? Don't we have that already? Yeah, boo.
There's an RFK Jr.
Yeah, exactly. We could go listen to Biden for all that crap. Holy shit, you. I'm trying not. I'm going to do my best to not just say. I'm going to take this back. I will say the F word many times, but I'm going to try to cut it a little bit because I think I say it too much because these people make me crazy, and I feel like I have to say it.
I say it all the time.
Yeah. I do too. I mean, when I go back and look at the replays and stuff where I'm cutting up the videos, I'm like, gosh, you say the F word a lot.
I'll say frick. Ugh, I hate that.
Listen, we could still say it. And you can do whatever you want. I'm just going to try to make a conscious effort to cut it down. I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to do my best. So, but anyway, you have anything else to say about this clown?
No.
Because we can get back to him in a little bit. But here's
so we did do a whole bunch of making fun of him, but what actually happened inside of the courtroom was interesting today because today was document day, and in particular, it was like exhibits 35 and 36 had all these signatures on there, right? So like today was really we're getting closer to showing that, because it's not, we say hush money and he paid a porn star, and that's not the crime.
Correct.
The crime is him messing around with his business documents and trying to make it seem like this was like a what did he turn
These
it?
campaign funds.
Yeah, exactly. So that's and I mean they got checks with him signing,
Yep.
and then he paid himself like double or triple or quadruple back for the money that he paid back to Cohen.
Yeah.
Like when he put it on his forms, and he like try to get reimburse himself more money than what he paid out. It was something. It was a lot. Like it was a lot to take in, but it was something crazy that they were even doing, trying to get the money back that because they were saying it like they were. Was it a retainer fee that they were saying for Cohen? It was some nonsense, and then they put it on the books trying to reimburse Trump back even more money than what he gave Cohen. It was.
The guy's always looking for a scam.
Yeah,
always. And it
crazy.
drives me nuts to hear people now, and they keep, defending poor Donald Trump. And, we always do this kind of stuff. We always do. Forget about him as president or after president. Well, first of all, this happened before he was president, but he was running. But before he was even running, I mean, this guy had to pay out lots of money because of a scam university. Was that a big scam too? Was that a big Democrat ploy
ignoring that,
when
right?
that happened? Huh?
Yeah, they ignore that. They
Right.
keep ignoring that when he scammed. Like he shouldn't even be allowed to run for president after you settle a case where you scammed Americans.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. And we've gotten to a point, and in fact, I'm gonna play some clips a little bit later that it just drives you fucking crazy, especially about the way a lot of the Republican candidates, all these people that are in Congress, how they approach the media, and how it turns back into an attack on the media rather than answering the questions, and rather than taking the responsibility that they always say everybody else should take. But before we get to that, Lana, this is this is stuff we have to, just as somebody, you and I, that do a political show, I will tell you it's a subject that is not on the top of my radar, even though it's really in the top of the news, is what's going on in Israel and Palestine, with Israel and Palestine. And when I say that, I want to make it clear that it's not that I don't care about the people and the awful things that are happening there and the innocent people getting murdered. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, obviously, as a human being, I have human emotions and feelings towards those people. But there was some news today that President Biden and Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke on the phone for 30 minutes Monday, discussing hostage deal negotiations and Israel's preparations for a ground invasion of Rafah. U.S. and Israel officials said Biden is seeking to salvage the long-stalled Israel-Hamas hostage deal and avoid a massive Israeli military operation in Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinians are taking shelter. Ahead of a possible ground invasion, Israel on Monday started to evacuate Palestinian civilians from the eastern parts of Rafah, close to the Israel border, the Israel Defense Forces said. And the decision to begin evacuating Palestinian civilians was taken after talks between the Hamas delegation and Egyptian and Qatari mediators in Cairo ended with no breakthrough. So there may be some light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, I don't know that this ends everything. I think, from my understanding, that there should be some sort of ceasefire coming up for a period of time. I don't know what they do in that period of time. Hopefully they settle the whole thing. But I ask you, have you followed much of this? I mean, I know it's in the news and there's things to know about it, but is there anything else that you followed about this that maybe I should know that I don't?
Well, that Hamas had agreed to a ceasefire, but it's not the ceasefire that the Israelis
Yeah,
said.
I have this. Hamas announced it accepts the Egyptian Qatari proposal for
Yeah,
a
okay.
hostage
Yeah,
deal and a ceasefire in Gaza, the group said in a statement.
right.
So that is something. And the CIA director, Bill Burns, he was part of the U.S. effort to secure the hostage deal. So it looks like they're working. But again, the dynamics of everything, I
It's
don't know.
it's interesting too because, well, you just don't know because we're here. But didn't the other day Israel say that Hamas had fired on them while they were negotiating? Like they're trying to negotiate, and then I thought they said that Hamas had fired on. I think that was just yesterday on some Israeli
I think
troops.
that I have not heard that, but Lana, there's one of two things that it could be that it actually happened, and
Right.
there's got to be something that they have to consider, or what they do is they make up some news so
Right.
they can continue these attacks and still get the
Absolutely.
sympathy from the people.
Absolutely.
And there is I don't want to say consensus, but there are some thoughts that maybe Benjamin Netanyahu is not a big Joe Biden fan, and any of this continued conflict helps Donald Trump. And if there's anybody out there who doesn't think that that is anywhere in play, I think you're being naive.
Right.
But again, it's an awful thing. And now, again, it's extended over here to the United States, which is understandable because we have many people of the Jewish community and the Palestinian community, Muslims, that it affects over here. But, again, now we're going into the territory of the student protest, which, I mean, I've always been a fan of protest. This one's losing me though. I'm not really sure what the whole premise and point of it is. I'm not sure they are. I ask you again, Lana, are you following this? And is there anything I should know that I'm not?
No, it's a lot. It's a lot, but I mean, I just always go back because these are colleges, so I really don't understand why. Because we knew the protests were coming with the students, we knew
Mhm.
that they were unhappy. This has just been it's been slow rolling, so it just seems like it was something that they could have prevented. Like, of course they can protest, but you would have thought that they would have had assemblies or
Right.
something
Yeah.
to talk to all of the students and like maybe give them a quick history lesson, all of them,
Mhm.
on, you know what I mean, on what's been going on for years between you know, Israel, Hamas, Palestine, like all of this. I don't understand why that just didn't happen. That confuses me. Biden also stopped the shipment of offensive weapons to Israel.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. There's a hold there. So progress being made there now. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people out there saying too little, too late. There's whatever. But
But
I don't know.
he's literally been building a friggin' dock so that they can get food.
Yeah.
Like building a dock since what, 2-3 weeks they putting that dock up. I think it's almost finished.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's not in my wheelhouse. Again, it is something that I take serious from a humanitarian standpoint. Outside of that, again, I made the point a few weeks ago that, the one thing that drives me nuts about any of this stuff is this is being fought over, religious sort of things that I don't subscribe to. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in, all that stuff. And now our lives are being affected by something that, again, I find crazy and ridiculous, and it just, I don't know. And, you hear people all the time, they're like talking hateful things about Jewish people, hateful things about Muslim people. I mean, hell, even black people, gay people that, most people who don't like these people or they're angry at these people, a lot of it is due to ignorance because people just don't know and they just don't understand. They don't know why they're saying it. They just know it, and it's real pure ignorance. I feel I've got like reverse ignorance, and it's kind of like I'm happy I don't understand why I need to hate Jewish people. I'm happy I don't understand why I need to hate Muslims, black people, gay people, immigrants. I'm happy I don't understand why I need to hate these people while so many other people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do I don't get it. I don't understand it. Even if he explained it to me, I still be like, fuck, I don't know. You got me.
Right. Like you'd still be like, but why do you hate them though?
Yeah.
Because you don't know them. So why do you hate something you don't know? It's just really stupid.
You know what? Partially, maybe even half, maybe even more than half. It's because of some crazy religious views. And again, that's why I just don't
Yeah.
get it. I don't get it. So, but we were talking about the students. There was this one clip of this young lady. I know she was trying very hard, I'm sure, but she was holding a press conference as to, her involvement in the, first of all, holding this press conference. There was a couple of reporters asking her some questions. She had a hard time answering some of them. And again, this is when I see this stuff, I'm like, listen, if you're going to protest, let's be prepared and let's understand and let's get, but this young lady kind of lost me here when she was asked a few questions. This is a Columbia student who broke in. I guess there was a bunch of students who broke into this hall and they took it over. And this is her, I guess, press conference about it.
The university be obligated to provide food to people who've taken over a building?
Well, first of all, we're saying that they're obligated to provide food to students who pay for a meal plan here.
But you mentioned that there was a request that food and water be brought in, unless I misunderstood.
To allow it to be brought in. I mean, well, I guess it's ultimately a question of what kind of community and obligation Columbia feels it has to its students. Do you want students to die of dehydration and starvation or get severely ill, even if they disagree with you? If the answer is no, then you should allow basic, I mean, it's crazy to say because we're on an Ivy League campus, but this is like basic humanitarian aid we're asking for. Like, could people please have a glass of water?
But they did put themselves in that very deliberately, in that situation and in that position. So it seems like you're sort of saying, we want to be revolutionaries, we want to take over this building, would you please bring us food and water?
Nobody's asking them to bring anything. We're asking them to not violently stop us from bringing in basic humanitarian aid.
They're stopping the delivery of food.
We are looking for a commitment from them that they will not stop it
But
violently.
they haven't stopped it yet.
I don't know to what extent it has been attempted, but we're looking for a commitment.
Yeah. Okay. So she's looking for a commitment that they won't violently stop. First of all, I find it offensive that she's using the term humanitarian aid. I mean, because the people that she is trying to defend need actual humanitarian aid. So, I mean, it's a little bit off and a little bit crazy that she would be using that term. You froze up on me, Lana. Are you there? Uh-oh. I think this is our first show where we've had technical difficulties.
Aren't you a revolutionary? It's like, how's a revolution?
Can you hear me?
Like, we're holed up at Columbia.
Can you hear me, Lana?
Yeah.
Okay, because you froze up on me for a while.
Well, you were freezing too. Like I kept saying, you went black, and then it started spinning.
Uh-oh, somebody is sabotaging our show.
Space lasers.
And that's we did it on Monday night, so we can maybe sneak this one in so we couldn't get sabotaged and they're finding us anyway. Yeah, the space lasers.
Yeah, I was just saying she was asking for a Starbucks while she was
right. Yeah.
Like
basically, she's like, we're just gonna make sure that nobody is going to stop our basic humanitarian aid and needs. And it's just like, lady, what are you talking about? You just made yourself look ridiculous. And these are people who go to Columbia. They're supposed to be smarter than all of us.
Yeah, but they're also supposed to follow what's going on, right? Like,
yeah,
you protest, but you also need to actually follow what steps are being taken, where we're at now in this process. Like, I don't understand it. I don't.
Yeah, I know
it's
this
different.
is something that's difficult to
Totally
understand, and it is my hope not just for this country. I mean, obviously more for Israel and Palestine that this is all wrapped up soon. I mean,
for sure.
I think we
For
know
sure.
Israel and Palestine overall, that's not going to be wrapped up probably for the rest of our lives because I mean, it's just going on forever, but just in the climate today. And and I will say it for our country, that it is settled down and we're able to move forward and maybe focus more on things that are going on here, rather than just over there.
Yeah, because this is
Hey, DA is back joining us. Dummy
guys
became
did it.
president of the United States. You are not kidding. So I would imagine, and believe it or not, that girl, not believe it or not, that girl 100% is smarter than Donald Trump. There's absolutely no question in my mind. And she sounded like an idiot. So,
True.
speaking of sounding like an idiot, Kristi Noem is all over the place. She literally will. I mean, she will take any show that asks her to come. Actually, I should have called her to come on this show. She seems like she's going to go on any show now. It doesn't matter because she is going to defend shooting that little puppy in the face.
Yes, she is.
Something that she wrote about in her book. What's it called?
I would not know ever.
Never Go Back.
What?
And so she wrote a passage in the book. I'm sure everybody has heard about it, where there was this puppy that
Cricket.
was the name of the dog. Cute little dog. We saw pictures of him all over the internet. And it was not behaving to Kristi Noem's satisfaction. So she decided, because quote unquote in the book, she hated that dog.
Yeah.
She shot it and killed it.
Yeah.
Same thing with a goat, apparently. She killed a goat as well. But she was on Face the Nation. She was on pretty much every show, like I said earlier, but I do have a couple of clips from her on Face the Nation. She's a difficult one to listen to. Her voice just drives me insane and I think it's maybe because of the words that are coming out of her mouth that are associated with that voice probably is the worst part of it.
Right.
But here she is on Face the Nation. This is the first clip. This is her defending the murder of Cricket.
Murder.
In a part of a chapter called Bad Day to Be a Goat. And then after you shot the dog, you, quote, realized another unpleasant job needed to be done. Walking back up to the yard, I spotted our Billy goat. You said he smelled and would chase kids, so you took him to the gravel pit and shot him twice. How do you justify that? How was the goat a threat? And I'm asking you this because it seems like you're celebrating the killing of the animals.
Not at all. This has been a story that my political opponents have tried to use against me for years. It's well known in South Dakota, and it has been to other people. And I want the truth to be out there and to understand that these animals were attacking my children, that we live on a farm and a ranch, and that tough decisions are made many times. And it is to protect people. And I'll tell you, the extremism of other people and how they have attacked me politically, I understand it. They're doing the same thing to me that they do to Donald Trump every day.
I mean, again, this is their whole MO is they find a way when the fingers are pointed at them is just to point them right back at you and say, no, this is not me. This is you. This is my political opponent. But I mean, shooting goats, shooting dogs, that's not something to me that I look at where somebody goes, this is a tough decision for me. To me, you take sort of some kind of weird, demented pleasure in that because I don't care if I didn't like a pet or a dog. There's no fucking way I'm going to shoot it and kill it.
Yeah, most people would take the puppy. It's not even a dog, it's a puppy to obedience school.
Yeah.
You take them back to the shelter so it can find its forever home. Yep. Give it to a friend. Yep. They don't even want to put dogs down if they bite someone, right? It's like maybe a couple times, but Kristi is what it means to be a good Republican. Like, she's a good Republican. You're only as good to them as what they can get from you. And when they can't get what they want from you, you're expendable, just like Cricket was expendable.
Yep.
That's why women expendable, die from sepsis, miscarry in the bathroom. They don't care. They're still laughing about Paul Pelosi being hit with a hammer. Like, they want to be the grossest, the nastiest. That you just said it. If Donald Trump stopped being a racist pig and started talking about policy, they would start booing him.
Right. Do you remember in his rallies, every once in a while when he was doing his rallies, when he was president running again against Joe Biden, he would bring up the COVID vaccine and go, you know what, the COVID and they would boo him. They would start booing him based on the COVID vaccine.
They're like, this is not what we're paying you for.
Yeah, this is not what you taught us. What are you doing? So it's crazy. And, you know, like I said, and Kristi Noem too, by the way, is not somebody that strikes me as somebody that went to an animal shelter to get this dog. She probably paid thousands of dollars for that dog.
She could have dropped it at a shelter. A shelter would have taken it. They got no kill shelters. Like, who does that on their own? It's just such a crazy thing. It's like, it's psychotic. Like,
it's something she takes pleasure in. And in fact, in the book, the way it was read, it was almost like, I'm a badass. Watch this passage in this book. And now all of a sudden, she wants to backtrack everything that she wrote in her own fucking book.
Is she backtracking? Or is she just saying, like, the dog?
She's about to, because,
she's blaming the victim. She's like, the dog is biting everybody, and the mailman and the fire.
Lana, you were right to question me on that one, but on this next clip, you're going to find out that she was not backtracking when she talked about the meeting that she had with Kim Jong-un that she stated in her book.
You write about lessons learned in leadership, and you bring up some specific incidents I want to ask you about. You talk about meeting some world leaders, and one specific one, quote, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. I've been a children's pastor after all. Did you meet Kim Jong-un?
Well, you know, as soon as this was brought to my attention, I certainly made some changes and looked at this passage. And I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. As soon as it was brought to my attention, we went.
Keep in mind, the question was, did you meet Kim Jong-un?
Oh, yeah,
and we are 20 seconds into a yes or no question.
Forward and have made some edits. So I'm glad that this book is being released in a couple of days and that those edits will be in place and that people will have the updated version.
So you did not meet with Kim Jong-un. That's what you're saying.
Updated version.
You know, I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. I think I've talked extensively in this book about my time serving in Congress, my time as governor, before governor, some of the travels that I've had. I'm not going to talk about my specific meetings with world leaders. I'm just not going to do that. This anecdote shouldn't.
She talked about it in her book.
And as soon as it was brought to my attention, I made sure that was adjusted. So the book is not released until Tuesday, and so we're doing all that we can to make sure that those changes are made, and I'm going to continue to focus on what this book is and the blueprint that it lays out for the American citizen on all.
First of all, I love the name of her book is Never Go Back, I believe, and it turns out she's going back to edit the fucking book that she just read or she just wrote.
She looks like her face is very painful. Like,
yeah, she's
like it hurts. That doesn't
I mean, you know, I don't want to. I don't want to comment on her appearance, but she does seem,
I'm a woman. Her
you
face.
could go ahead and do that, but this is another one of these chicks that had an affair with this Corey Lewandowski. How is he pulling down all these?
Wait, excuse me?
Yeah, had by the way, these are the family values people. Cheated on her husband with Corey Lewandowski. So did Hope Hicks, had an affair with this guy. I don't understand it. But I think there's a nice little pushback here. So let's finish off the clip.
all of the things in the background and stories of my life, but also what I think that needs to be identified in politics and what's broken today. I talk about how broken the money game is, how broken it is that we've got consultants that are getting rich off of elected officials, and then how fake some elected politicians are. Every single person in this country wants someone in elected office that's a human being, that doesn't say they're perfect. I take responsibility for that being in the book.
Maybe there is no pushback. You know what? Actually, I can't listen to her voice anymore. But
leadership,
you know, that's I don't know. That's upsetting. DA says, well, first he says she was my neighbor and volunteered to pet sit my dog every day for the past year. Now I know why. A killer goat. Yeah. No, the goat
goes running around killing her kids.
Yeah, Cody's like the fucking Jason Voorhees of the neighborhood, going around just killing people. She wrote about a specific meeting with a world leader. Right. It's just unbelievable. And then, of course, he tops it off when she looks like Jennifer Aniston on crack, which that one extremely accurate.
It's very.
But, you know, in one of these interviews, Lana, too, I went back and I looked and I couldn't find it. But, well, I could have found it in numerous other interviews. But she did the same thing where she goes, this is what the media likes to do. The media the mainstream media, what they like to do is they like to take my words. They like to do this. They like to do that.
They're her words.
She acts like she doesn't know these stories were in the book. The Kim Jong-un story, the dog story.
Making it up. She put it there.
And I'm almost positive there's an audio version of this book, which means she fucking read the words out loud. And now she's saying, that should have never been in the book.
Right.
I'm still not clear as to why the Kim Jong-un story should be pulled out of the book, other than that she's never met him, but she won't admit that.
Right, because what's his face? The president of France has already said, no, I didn't meet with her.
Yeah.
That's why she had to change that one, because he's like, no, we never met.
No, but she's met many world leaders and she doesn't talk about those meetings anymore, I guess. I mean, but see, Lana, and that's what drives me nuts. Shouldn't somebody with even half intelligence look at these people and go, that just doesn't sound right? I mean, these people are just trying to make me look stupid.
But their supporters are dumb. I mean, you know, I looked at Trump's vice president short list of picks. You got the dog goat killer.
Yep.
You got Tim Scott that thinks women can be pregnant for 52 weeks, has a blow up doll, thinks that there's no racism. His gums forever, and like he freaking it's like his head is always up Trump's ass. Then you have like Elise, what's her name?
Stefanik. Yeah.
Right. Who the replacement theory is her jam. Then you have Rubio, who's spineless, who Trump talked about his ears, his sweating, how he drinks water.
Little Marco.
Little Marco, but now he too is kissing his ass. And then you have Burgum. Who the hell is Burgum running around South Dakota like banning Black history? It's just it's a mess, and my battery's about to go dead, so I have to keep talking.
What, on your laptop?
Yeah.
All right. Well, while Lana goes and gets her her charger so her battery does not go dead, she just mentioned Tim Scott, and Tim Scott is one of the people who are in line for Donald Trump's vice president. He recently was on Meet the Press.
Sorry.
Did you hear what I said, Lana?
Yeah, you said.
We're going to bring up your friend Tim Scott. I don't know if you saw the clip of him on Meet the Press. We talked about another interview that is just painful to listen to. I'm just telling you, the people on the MAGA side of the world, I can only put up with so much, but this is a lengthier clip, and part of it I don't want to listen to. But Kristen Welker, I will admit, does a decent job of pushing back. That's why I think it is important that we're seeing a little bit more pushback with some of these interviewers, and I don't even still think it's enough. But here is Kristen Welker. Yeah, with Tim Scott on Meet the Press when she just basically asked him, will you accept the results of the election no matter who wins? Sounds like an easy question. This is over a 2-minute clip to answer this one simple question.
This week, he said that he won Wisconsin falsely, Senator. So again, to the point, you voted to certify the election results of 2020. It's the exact opposite of what you said and did after 2020. Why would you want to be on a ticket with someone where there's such a fundamental difference?
There is clear facts here. President Trump himself said he expects this election to be fair, he expects it to be honest, and he expects to win. That's what the presidential candidate should expect, and I expect the exact same thing. And frankly, the American people agree with him. This is an issue that is not an issue, so I'm not going to make it an issue.
Well, Senator, will you commit to accepting the election results of 2024? Bottom line.
At the end of the day, the 47th president of the United States will be President Donald Trump, and I'm excited to get back to low inflation, low unemployment.
Wait, Senator, yes or no? Yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024 no matter who wins?
Real quick, do you say he was looking forward to getting back to low inflation and low unemployment? Yeah. Unemployment's a 50-year low. It's
exactly
2 years in a row under 4%.
That's what I mean. It's like you can't even. She's pushing back on one thing,
right?
And then he's lying, sneaking lies in about something else. The shit is wild. You can't even catch it all.
And
it's
Lana, you might be different than me, but I mean, that you almost have to defend Kristen Welker because I don't know if any of us could just control these 19 different avenues of lies.
Exact. How? Because now it's like, P.S. You lied. Like after the interview, like But what a lot of the journalists are doing, which they're getting much better at, is when he's gone and she continues her show, she'll fact check it and say, by the way, because she does have someone in her ear. So she doesn't have to remember to go back and do that. Someone in her ear can tell her, fact check it, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure they give her leeway as to which one you're going to fact check because you're right. Her main question right now is, will you accept the terms of the election or the winner of the election no matter what? That's her question. That's the premise of her question. She wants to stick with that. He's going off talking about low unemployment that Donald Trump will bring back. And she's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this fucking election. So let's see.
And we'll get mad at her for not pushing back on that lie. But she's trying to continue with that. Yeah.
I think because we work it out and we're logical, intelligent people, we get mad at her for the second until we realize the conundrum she's in here. Right. It's just the problem. So here's more of this ridiculousness.
That is my statement.
But is it just yes or no? Will you accept the election results of 2024?
I look forward to President Trump being the 47th president. Kristen, you could ask him multiple times.
Senator, just a yes or no answer.
So the American people will make the decision.
But I don't hear you committing
for President Trump. That's clear.
I don't hear you committing to the election results.
Here's the challenge.
Will you commit to accepting the election results?
This is why so many Americans believe that NBC is an extension of the Democrat Party. At the end of the day, I've said what I've said, and I know that the American people, their voices will be heard, and I believe that President Trump will be our next president. It's that simple.
This woman is clearly just simply asking, will you accept the results of the election? He won't answer it and says, well, it's because you guys are Democrats.
Yeah, exactly. You're pushing me. You must be a part. NBC's a part. You're hurting my feelings.
It is just and I know he's probably internally going, just move on. I've already controlled this interview, so you need to move on. And now she's not. Now he's getting pissed, and now he's going to do the same thing that they all do, is they're going to blame the media like a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah. Yeah. He looked pathetic.
Yeah.
He's stumbling all over.
The hallmark of our democracy is that both candidates agree to a peaceful transfer of power. So I'm asking you as a potential VP nominee, will you accept to commit to the election results in this election cycle, no matter who wins? Just simply yes or no.
I expect I expect President Trump to win the next election. Listen, I'm not going to answer your hypothetical question when, in fact, I believe the American people are speaking today on the results of the election. And if it continues for the next 6 months, we find ourselves in a great position where we get back to another century of American prosperity.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
Technically, that's a hypothetical question, but it's a realistic because it's really one
He's
or
in
the
an
other is going
interview.
to win. Yeah, I
Do not
mean,
want
come
questions
on.
in an interview.
Oh, it's so frustrating to listen to these people. That's why I used to watch Meet the Press all the time. I can't watch these shows anymore. I just can't do it.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
My phone is like going off.
It's blowing up. Do you need to answer that?
Oh gosh, no, I don't want to answer. I want to get back on. Here we are.
Are you back on?
Yeah, because it was a FaceTime, so
Who calls?
my son. It's my son. It's a constant. See, we're not supposed to be on tonight.
Do you need to answer him?
No, I'm not going to.
Go ahead. We'll listen.
Nope. Just gonna tell him busy. Okay. Yeah.
You brought up FaceTime, by the way, real quick. I think in concept, when I first heard about it, I was like, this is awesome. But when I see somebody call me FaceTime, I'm like, what's going on here?
Why are you doing it? Right. My son always does it. I don't know why he calls like that.
I don't know. But all right. Anything else you want to say about Tim Scott before we move on?
What an ass kisser. Like, it's just, he's not going to be vice president. It's like, you could just tell that he's like, after this, he's probably like, did I do well? Did I do well? Did I do good? Like, what the hell? Wait, oh.
And I think it's very, very unlikely Donald Trump makes Tim Scott his vice president.
Hell no.
Very unlikely. I think he's going to want somebody that he's either attracted to, that he knows he can boss around. Well, whether he's attracted to him or not, he wants somebody that he can boss around. There's absolutely no question about it. So, but that leads kind of into our next subject here. Lana and I have talked about this Project 2025 that the Republicans want to implement, basically to make their entire plan and moving forward, and what they want to do starting at the very beginning of their administration if they go ahead and win. Real quick, DA said since Trump cheated and won in 2016, he still cannot believe that he cheated again and lost in 2020. That is correct. And in fact, we talked about earlier that the case, it came out, that David Pecker and Donald Trump were getting together to put together stories about his political opponents. And he was using other stories, or he was doing what they call the catch and kill, where they were catching bad stories about Donald Trump and making sure they killed those. And DA says that DeSantis will be his VP. I don't think that'll happen.
They can't happen. They clash. He does. DeSantis is like competition for him.
I think maybe he may have said that because there was the meeting apparently last week between DeSantis and Donald Trump, where DeSantis at least Trump said DeSantis is endorsing him. I personally have not heard DeSantis come out and say it himself, but we'll see. But we go back to the Project 2025, which is a very dangerous, very scary sounding thing. Oli Velshi of MSNBC did a little piece on it. Let's play this real quick. This gives a little synopsis of what Project 2025 is, if you are not familiar with it by now. And if you aren't, you should be. And if you are somebody that's on the fence, you should listen to this, and it should scare the shit out of you.
Aspect of Project 2025 is its plan to grant Donald Trump unchecked power over the executive branch, potentially allowing him to weaponize it against his critics, including those in the media, who he constantly says he's going to target anyway. Project 2025 is ultimately a blueprint for a soft coup, one that replaces our age-old system of checks and balances with cronyism. What Trump couldn't achieve in his first term, Project 2025 seeks to facilitate by removing obstacles to his authority. This includes an active plan for purging the executive branch of any dissent by replacing longtime civil servants with those who pledge fealty to Trump. The group's database of potential political appointees includes more than 4,000 vetted candidates who are, according to the document, ready and willing to begin, quote, dismantling the administrative state from day one, end quote. In an interview with the New York Times, Trump advisor Russell Vought put it plainly, what we're trying to do is identify the pockets of independence and seize them, end quote. Doesn't stop there, by the way. Project 2025 calls for invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow presidents to deploy the country's military forces against American citizens who protest their actions.
Donald Trump wants that more than anything. He wants to be able to control the streets on anything that's a protest that he does not agree with.
Yep.
Something that is illegal at the moment. Additionally, it claims to reverse recent LGBTQ plus civil rights protections, including the same-sex marriage. It criminalizes transgender identity, equating it with pornography. It would designate librarians who promote banned books as sex offenders. It would define life as beginning at the very moment of conception for the purposes of legal protection. These are just some of the things that the religious right plans to implement under Project 2025. And if this alarms you, it should.
Very well said. I agree with that. If it alarms you, it should. If it does not alarm you, you either don't know about it or you're just a far right-wing MAGA. And, you know, that's really what it comes down to. That it is scary as fuck. DA is absolutely correct.
It really is. People just don't know what's about to happen.
You know, they really don't. And that's what I've said a million times. People don't understand that it has now become a party of religious zealots and nuts. And they have what they think this golden opportunity to finally turn America into this white Christian nationalist country that they have wanted to have forever, and that there has been a segment of people throughout our country's history. Luckily, it had dwindled down significantly from the beginning of time until now, but there are still that segment of people who do believe that this country is built on white Christian nationalist ideas, and they see an opportunity to get it back in full force with this Project 2025. And this thing's not a fucking joke. This isn't something that somebody on Twitter made up because of liberals and far left-wing progressives made up. This is on the fucking internet. You can read all 900 pages of this if you actually want to. You can see the authors of this thing. You can look them up personally and find out, who is this person? Who is this person? Who does he represent? Who does she represent? And you can see they're all represented by people from the Federalist Society, all these different far right-wing cuckoo clock organizations that want to turn this country into a gigantic, weird church.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what to say.
Well, since you don't know what to say, we'll play another clip. This is another this is another thing to expect from Project 2025. There is a podcast called this always cracks me up. This is the Real Man podcast. These are real men, Lana, so be prepared. I don't know if you're going to be able to handle this, because
let's go. Are they going to be yelling and screaming like the other man camp?
Well, you're going to see one guy, I think, that's a little bit more yelling and screaming, and the other guy looks like, I'm not sure how manly he looks, but let's take a listen to these two clowns about abortion and what they think should happen and what possibly could happen with this Project 2025. And anybody that scoffs at that, read their agenda. This is no joke. But listen to these two clowns.
Person who paid to murder this baby and consent to kill it, they're never held accountable for that murder.
I said one of them doesn't look like a real man. I guess the other guy, because he's all tatted up and he's got his jacked up arms and shit, I guess he's supposed to be, the real man. I don't know about this other guy.
And pro-lifer and pro-lifers are pro-life, pro-older life. They never want to hold the mother accountable for this. The mother decided to murder her baby. That's murder. She should be tried and convicted, dig a hole and put her down. But we're somehow we're placating to her. Somehow we're cuddling her and holding her and saying it's okay. No, you're a freaking murderer. You should be killed. Thoughts?
Yeah, when you say it like that, no, you're right though, absolutely, and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know those two clients' names. They were, even though they were on the bottom there. But you know, the way I see murder and just the way it's been depicted, you know, through real life, whatever it is, there's always a motive, and there's a deep rooted anger and motive towards murder. These mothers having abortions, unless there's stories out there that I'm not aware of, if you want to point out the stories of mothers who just say, fuck this kid, cut him out of me, and I want him dead. I'm not really sure that happens, but I don't know any woman goes into an abortion clinic to get an abortion and is either happy about it or careless about it, or doesn't care. I'm sure there's some emotional attachment, whether it be on a smaller scale or on a very large scale. Lana, I mean, you're a woman. What are your thoughts on women?
Like, they're not babies. Like, why do we? That's a problem. And they keep going with that stupid fucking rhetoric. Like, an embryo is not a baby. A fetus is not a baby. It's fucking. And then they say the unborn. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, stop it. It's so nonsensical. It's like, every day there's another scenario that you've never thought about. For instance, imagine a woman with cancer having cancer treatments, gets pregnant. She cannot have her cancer treatments because it may harm the embryo or the fetus, and she would be charged with some type of murder. So here she is being forced to carry to term and cannot have her life-saving cancer treatment. This is how far gone this shit is. Like, it's so fucking crazy. It's not even funny. It's scenario after scenario after scenario after scenario. And it just, none of it makes any sense. And they don't care if it makes any sense. It's just like they're just there. They smell like the chum in the water. And it's like, this is what we've always wanted. We wanted total domination and total control. And this is it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm also getting the sense, I don't know how many of these people really believe that it's murder. I think it's just a narrative that they like to use because it's something that enhances their point even more. But at the end of the day, some of those people that go to church, there's a very strong possibility some people that they may bow down and worship to, like former presidents may have had said abortions, or had, women that they had gotten pregnant, had gotten abortions. And those are okay. I mean, those, if Donald Trump, if it came out that he had got a woman pregnant and she had an abortion, do they have the same vitriol and anger and does the Real Man podcast go out there and say that they're never going to vote for Donald Trump because of that?
No, but this is how dangerous this is, and that rhetoric is. Like, it just keeps getting further and further. Like, just imagine them saying something like that, and a woman leaving a state, Mississippi, to go and get an abortion because she doesn't want any more children. Perhaps she has 5 or 6 already, doesn't want any more. Perhaps she's not married. The boyfriend finds out that she got an abortion and then he kills her. Are we now going to look at it as, well, she killed their baby, so he has a right to kill her because she committed murder? You know how it's just going to twist. Like, there's so many ways that this can just go awry, and it always ends up, the bottom line, the woman is punished. She's going to get punished whether the men are going to start killing these women because they don't want a baby, right? And she can't get an abortion because she can't leave. So he's going to fucking kill her because he doesn't want to be saddled with that.
Or at least maybe like beat her up to try to get the baby.
Oh, stop. These women are going to die. They're going to kill these women. Like, stop. They're going to die. Like, we can't like sidestep what's going to happen. Yes, some will get beat up, but these men are going to murder these women.
Yeah. I mean, the sad reality of it is that you're going to hear stories about it. In fact, you'll hear more stories about that than you're going to hear about the 9th month abortion that happens.
Do you know that in Missouri that a pregnant woman cannot get a divorce?
That's another thing that's part of this Project 2020. They're going to make divorce much harder because they believe, I told you, I know women that go to church and she was in a very abusive relationship and they both went and talked to the pastor, and the pastor basically looked at her and said, you need to, figure this out because you can't get divorced. Luckily she goes to another church now, and the other guy told her that's ridiculous. But yeah, there are, again, these
Missouri, you cannot. This woman, her story is in the paper. I forget what name she went under, but she had children. Husband beat her. She's pregnant, went to file for divorce. She cannot have a divorce because she is pregnant. Missouri does not allow abortions.
These are the same people. Well, first of all, everybody, most Americans, if you have some logic, are going to vilify groups like ISIS and stuff like that. But, you also hear those far right-wing people, we should bomb all those towelhead, all blah, 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 and all that. But this is our version of ISIS. That is their version of ISIS is what it is. I mean, it's all based on religious crazy shit that they want to implement for everybody that lives in the country that is supposed to be based on freedom. They're trying to take away the same freedoms that they said that they love so much about this country.
Don't take that gun away, God dog it. You can't take my gun.
She's like, you know what? You're right. It's almost impossible to take your gun away when nobody's fucking trying to do it, you idiot. It just drives me insane how stupid this country has become. It's just... Oh man, it's become,
it's bad.
Okay, I got to play this clip because I love it. We talk about some of the reporters that push back. This wasn't really a pushback. Donald Trump was on a local Detroit channel and he was spewing some stats, and the person that was interviewing him, again, this is just local Detroit Fox News affiliate. And the guy that was interviewing him had one simple question, and your boy struggled.
Venezuela was very crime-ridden. They announced the other day 72% reduction in crime in the last year. You know why? They moved all their criminals from Venezuela right into the good old USA. And Biden let them do it. It's a disgrace.
But, sir, where are those numbers coming from?
I guess I get them from the papers in this case. I think it's a federal statement, or, well, they're coming actually from Venezuela.
Oh, beautiful.
All right, so
that's the best.
Obviously has made its rounds across many circles.
But that to me is the greatest. He was not, because usually he goes on these shows like Fox and stuff that won't give him any pushback. And that's not even really a pushback question, but it kind of is for him because I know that guy knows he has no fucking idea where he got those numbers. None. So I'm going to ask him, where'd you get the numbers?
He's like, they give them to me.
No, I got them from the papers. No, wait, they actually came from. So Venezuela called Donald, hey, listen, I got some numbers for you that you might be interested in.
You know that guy Venezuela?
Yeah, all our criminals, we're sending them over to you. Here are the numbers.
Oh my God.
You would think the stat that he just gave, that he would know exactly where you got those from. In less than 30 seconds, he gave 3 different answers on where he got those numbers. 3 different answers. Just unfucking believable. Unbelievable. Neil Cavuto did a good job too of another pushback with Nancy Mace. She's another one of these nutbag MAGAs. Is she a vice presidential candidate?
She wasn't on the list that I saw, but she could be. She could be on the long list.
Was she the one that had the affair with Corey Lewandowski, or was it?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
It was one of those two. It doesn't even matter. One of these two cheated on. I think she cheated on her husband too, and it might not have been with Corey Lewandowski.
Yeah.
But here's the family values queen, Nancy Mace, and she was asked a follow-up question by Neil Cavuto too, and she had a hard time answer, or she did her thing.
Groups that are funded by George Soros. There are Palestinian rights groups that I believe are involved, funded by George Soros, and they need to be off of our college campus.
This obviously is about the protests on the college
That they're
campuses.
committing violence, full stop.
All right. There's no proof that these are funded by George Soros, by the way, but their folks have denied that. But we'll see exactly where all of this money is coming from.
We'll agree to disagree, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I just looked for the checks, and I haven't seen them yet. But Nancy Mace, thank you very much.
See, good for him for being a smart ass with her, because again, this just bullshit of we'll just agree to disagree. What the fuck are you talking about? It's either a fact or it's not a fact.
Right.
They
You're a
wanna
liar.
argue- yeah, exactly. It's like there's no proof of any of this, and they know these people know they can just go on any TV show, it doesn't even matter who it is. They can just say whatever they want, and they're just going to dance and navigate around it until they get out of it. And that's all there's, it's just unbelievable. One last clip, Lana, you alluded to it earlier. This is how awful these people are. The president gave out the Freedom Medal of Honor to a group of people, including Nancy Pelosi and a list of other people. But here is a couple of people on Fox News. It looks like a guy maybe filling in for Jesse Waters. And if you think you can get worse than Jesse Waters, here's this guy. But he's talking to some lady about who she thinks should get the freedom medals. And she wraps up her little rant here, or her little shtick here, with one hilarious joke.
I have a list of some suggestions.
What do you like?
So here's who I thought America's frat boys, they could use the Medal of Freedom.
Is that America's frat boys? Is that somebody? Is that like a group?
I don't know.
I don't know what that
who
means.
America's frat boys are.
Or was she talking about maybe those frat boys from Ole Miss that?
Maybe.
I hope that's not who she's talking about, because they were in the news, obviously, just making ridiculous references or gestures at a black woman. I'm sure you saw that. Is that who she's talking about? I'll look that up and see who she means. I don't know if there's a group called the American Frat Boys, like the Proud Boys or something like that.
Right.
But let's.
Donald J. Trump, he never gives up on America. Elon Musk for, absolutely caring about, freedom of speech.
Elon Musk just reinstated Nick Fuentes to Twitter. I guess that's, makes him a free speech champion.
Yeah.
How about the truly peaceful protesters of the pro-life movement, the ones that are in jail right now? Kid Rock and John Rich, we know they love freedom.
He's even laughing
Riley
at that
Gaines,
one.
The classical school movement, you and I can appreciate that. And how about our U.S. Border Patrol?
Oh, that's a great list.
They care about America.
How about the
that
guys
was
that
a
cleared out
great
Colombia?
list.
I'd like to add them too. Whatever you, but it's probably more likely to go to Paul Pelosi, Susan Rice, and Gavin Newsom. So I think your list is correct, but a little off-brand for Big Joe. Rachel?
Yeah. Well, maybe Paul Pelosi needs the hammer instead of the medal.
Well, it's metal.
Boy, these guys know comedy better than anybody. She landed it, right, Lana?
What the fuck is these? Who raised these people? Fucking like wolves or pigs? I'm not.
Those are the Jesus people, by the way. Those are the Christ people and the worshipers.
Yeah.
I literally, if Jesus was sitting right next to them, just was like over on the side, just sitting there, would she have said that same thing?
Yeah.
She would have.
She probably would. She wouldn't know Jesus if she slapped her in the head.
Huh. I don't know. I think if Jesus came down and said, "Hey, I'm here to observe what's going on here. What's what are you guys talking about?" I don't know. She makes the hammer joke. It's
Trump
either that
is
or
Jesus.
Huh?
I said Trump is Jesus. What's
That's
wrong?
true. That is true. DA says Kid Rock is in jail because his music violates the noise ordinance. No kidding. It's kind of sucks because I think Kid Rock was decent when he first came out. And then he just went nuts. And then when I say decent, I didn't go out and buy him his albums, but I could have listened to one or two of his songs. He did kind of that rap rock thing in the beginning, and then
You're alone.
Yeah.
You're alone on that one.
Yeah. I mean, again, I didn't go out and buy any of his music. Couple songs, one or two. But all right. But anyway, it is Monday evening. The reason why we did tonight's show is because the Celtics play tomorrow night, game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. We need to make this nice and quick. Lana, by the way, do you have anything else you want to add?
I do not.
So then I can finish up my
You can do your spiel.
yeah. So anyway, is DA booing the Celtics?
Oh my goodness, probably. He's a hater.
What?
He hates everyone.
Isn't he from? Are you DA? Doesn't he
No,
live
he's
in
not
Boston?
in Boston.
He's not.
No, he's in Georgia.
Ah, all right. Well, he's closer to me. All
Yeah.
right. Well, anyway, go Celtics. Let's wrap this up very quickly. Lana, you are going to do your show Thursday?
No, Celtics are on Thursday.
Oh, that's right. You might do it Wednesday.
Maybe Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Well, so hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can find out whether or not Lana's going to do her show. And then we should be back here next Tuesday at 8:00 live. And
Yes.
I think that is it.
I will have a better hair day.
Your hair looks fine. You always look good. If anybody needs to worry about what they look like, it's me. You don't need to worry about what you look like. I'm the problem here.
Oh my God, what is these boos and yeses and boos? Like,
I don't know.
He's
going the Celtics, and that's the one thing because I'm a DA fan. I see his stuff on Twitter, but that's one thing I won't because listen, I'm a
ask him who's Georgia's team.
well, that's the Atlanta Hawks if you're talking NBA. But I'm a long-suffering, diehard fan of my
are the
teams.
Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta people don't even root for the Hawks.
Right.
He's probably rooting for LA.
He might be rooting against the Celtics.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Everyone
There's
does.
Celtic haters all over the place.
Yeah,
That's for
that's
sure.
why.
But I need one of my teams to win because one of my teams has not won since 2008. In fact, real quick before we go, over the weekend, my New York Mets were in Tampa. So they played a 3-game series. I went to 2 of those games. And I just want to let you know that I have seen my favorite teams, whether it be the Celtics, Dolphins, Canes, or the Mets. I've seen them live. Over the last 8 times I've seen them live, I am 0-8. I have not seen my favorite team that I have attended live in the last 8 attempts. Not seen them win 1 game. They were 1 strike away yesterday. I thought the streak was ending.
Like a
1 strike
bad
away.
omen. Maybe you're bad luck.
That's what people are telling me. I mean, I really think that this is coincidence. There's no fucking way that my teams lose just because I'm there. I mean, that's almost believing that, Jesus is but it is one hell of a coincidence.
Yeah. Don't go to any and watch them win.
Well, I mean, yeah. All right. So in other words, what you're saying is that plan to go and then the last second change and not go is what I should do. The fans boo you when you show up to the game. There's no question. They're like, oh, no, get this guy out of here.
Exactly.
Go for my last 8. I got to break the streak so that way I can go. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. And we will see everybody again next Tuesday at 8:00.
Man. Good night.
Good night.
Go Celtics.